Oh, absolutely. One, Desi people are competitive, right? You look at the way we grew up, right?
Oh my God.
Someone else's kid did better on their report card. You hearing about it.
You read my mind.
You hear about it.
Yeah.
Oh, everything is a competition in Desi culture, right? That their kid knows how to make that dish. You don't know how to make that dish. What's wrong with you, right? You got 98. They got 101. There is no 101. They're lying to their parents, mom. Nah.
Oh Kiddan! Yo, what up, people? Hello, namaste, kamcho, assalamu alaikum, and sat sri akal. What up, guys? Welcome back to the Oh Kiddan podcast. I'm your host, Tej, and we have Tej Pops back.
Pops back again, back in the building, sir. Good to see you.
Good to see you.
We have before we start, let's just do the, get the formalities out of the way. All right. Now, we have this is a special occasion, another one, right? Because we had a guest last episode. We have a guest, another back-to-back guest. I feel like we're moving up in the world.
Yep.
Because we have royalty that comes and graces us with their presence.
I'm humble, brother.
And you know what's crazy? Like, I am honored to be in the presence of like our last guest that's my brother.
Yep.
Right? I'm honored to be in the presence of my other brother. This is my Bengali brother. That's my Punjabi brother. That's my Bengali brother.
Yep.
Right? And without further ado, this man, Mr. Thahmin Rashid, TJ, goes by a lot of other names. But thank you, sir, for gracing us with your presence, for
absolutely
coming on this podcast, to giving us your valuable, precious time. I know you're a tough man to get a hold of.
Hey, I'm honored to be here.
I had to reach out to your assistant, my people, we have your people, right? So they can connect. But I appreciate you giving us your time.
Absolutely. I'm honored to be here. I'm honored to be here.
So thank you for being here and being part of this conversation with us.
Y'all humble me. For real, y'all humble me.
Man, listen, if there's one person that I want to be like when I grow up, right? Or a blueprint, somebody who said a blueprint. This man's right there.
Oh, man.
That man right there.
Oh, man. Yeah, I'm trying to get on your level. You're going to have to come down a couple levels to get here.
Oh, no, bro. I'm looking up always. Like,
yeah, right.
Slow down, bro. Let me catch up.
Yeah,
Let me catch up, brother.
Oh, man.
But I'm glad I'm glad he keeps me in his rearview mirror. I'm glad he keeps me there at least. Just like it's not out on the horizon.
It's because I drive in reverse, though.
And this is that beautiful conversation he and I have had for years. We've had this conversation for years, right? So Thahmin, before we even get into that, I want to just give a quick, brief introduction to how you and I came together and what brought us together, and then kind of like how everything connects around this one singular topic that we all love.
Yeah.
Sports.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Right? Basketball. And like basketball, like 4 Mile. Like 4 Mile for me is like I don't know, like how would you describe 4 Mile?
Man, it's almost like a sanctuary for us. It was an escape. It was a place we went not only to make friends, but let out steam to meet people. It was a hangout spot. I mean, we spent so many nights. Lights are like from the time the lights came on before that daylight, and we stayed till after the lights went off. Right.
Truly a sanctuary. That's probably the best way to put it. Right. It was a sanctuary of like a lot of almost like it was cathartic, right? Like where we would stay after hours to have these heart-to-hearts.
Life-changing conversations.
Right? Exactly.
Absolutely.
Sharing a lot of life wisdom and a lot of those type of conversations, which like, had I known this stuff when I was your age, right? Or even his age, like he's wise beyond years. Like, yeah, like that beard, black, that's not a black beard. That's whiter than mine. Y'all don't know. Y'all just don't know.
Nah.
Yeah.
How?
Like I'm telling you, he's so wise beyond his years. It's crazy.
It's because I learned so much from you, my brother.
Oh no. I'm just trying to follow the footsteps. That's what I'm doing. But 4 Mile is where we met.
Yep.
Right. That's where we met, and that's where actually what I remember, because I used to live on 4 Mile.
Yep.
And I remember one of my best friend and I, it's on another podcast. Y'all probably seen him. And he's actually here today as a guest. Well, not as a guest, but as an off-camera audience member, my boy, my brother. He's my other brother. He's my white brother.
So many brothers, bro.
So many brothers. But I only have a limited number. But all my brothers, I can count on my one hand, right? And I'm blessed to be around them.
Absolutely.
Which is a blessing. Which is crazy to think about. I got like a United Nation of brothers.
All from different mothers.
Exactly.
Bunch of brothers from mothers.
Yes. So like 4 Mile, right? My other brother, him and I would be gracing 4 Mile like all the time, regularly, just kind of hooping. And then I remember I seen this like whole posse of brown people. Like I've never seen this many brown people on 4 Mile ever. Except this one crew that we destroy. I'm sure you already know what I'm talking about. But they had other kind of people in their group. But
shout out to Doc. I hope you're doing well.
Sure. Yeah. I hope you're doing well. Right? Hope all is good. Hope all is well with you in life, of course. Just out on the court with us. But I remember we were just hooping. I remember this big group of brown folks just showed up to the court. And they're all young, right? They seem to be like not from the area because some of them were acting like they weren't from the area. And you could tell they weren't from the area. Absolutely. And we're gonna get into that right probably after this. And we're just thinking like, yo, who are these guys? Oh, they're acting like they think they're good. Some of them were good, right? And we got humbled. Some of them were actually really good. This man here was really good. Is really good.
It was is definitely, even was is a stretch. Even was is a stretch.
No, listen. I'm going to get into that to our battles. We had a lot of battles. But they showed up on the court and then we got to hooping and it became fun, right? It became enjoyable. It wasn't like, oh, I don't want to see them again, man. They whack, right? Or they're terrible. They just have bad energy. They had a good energy to themselves, which I loved. And that's why we were hoping, my friend and I were hoping like, I hope we run into them again. And we can. And it seemed to be that we almost like fate put us together. We ran into each other again constantly. And then the friendship grew from that sport of basketball.
Creating numbers, coordinating when we're going to meet up.
And then we created a group, a WhatsApp group. Absolutely. Right?
Absolutely.
Which kind of became like almost like a mini, like not cult, but like a mini.
There's a community.
Yeah, a mini community. Yeah, absolutely. Which is still going. I'm not as active on it as I was at one point. We're not there in 4 Mile anymore.
Sure, we all kind of moved away from that area, but
right.
It's always when we meet up to play ball, even to this day, where do we go?
4 Mile. 4 Mile is at JD. Before JD was renovated, it was JD.
It was JD, yep.
Right? And that chain link, that chain fence JD was our stomping grounds for that little bit, a brief few years.
Absolutely.
Right? So no, man, we grew a lot from those points.
Absolutely.
So, but before even that, we want to take it back. And I know Tej has a few questions lined up for you.
Sure.
So Tej, you want to start like from the top?
Yep.
So go ahead. Oh, actually, before we even do that, listen, my brown brother, right? We got a bunch of brown folks in here, right? And I jokingly will say the brownies.
Sure.
Gotta have the traditional, man, the classic. This is mango lassi. And we spoke about this on a previous episode about, some Desi household items.
Yep.
Yeah.
Listen, this is the go-to drink. I don't care what your opinion is on, anyone's opinion is on that. This is the go-to drink for brown folks.
Absolutely.
Mango lassi. But this mango lassi has a secret ingredient in it.
Oh, yeah?
That I put together. It's my own creation.
Is it for me?
This is for you. This is for any guest that shows here and gives us their precious time and blesses us with their blessing. So this is for them. And sir, I hope it satisfies your taste buds. If it doesn't, it won't hurt my feelings. It's all right. I'm good with it.
I'll give you my honest opinion.
Give me your honest opinion.
All right, bet.
So, cheers.
Cheers. To Tej.
To Tej.
Cheers.
Tej. And to y'all.
Okay. This is different. I can't put my finger on what the difference is though. What's the difference on this?
Oh no, that off camera.
Okay.
That's off camera.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'll tell you off camera.
This is definitely that Desi mango pulp. It's almost like that Deer brand mango pulp. Am I right on that? Am I right on the brand?
Almost.
Okay.
Almost.
Okay.
Yep.
You're close, but that's not the ingredient.
Okay.
Because everyone uses the Desi mango pulp for the most part.
Yeah, absolutely.
But there's that extra little hint of something that just, I feel like gives it that different texture.
Okay.
But we'll talk about that off camera.
All right. For sure.
Trade secret.
For sure.
So, sir, you want to throw us our first go to?
Yep.
Let's do a tip off.
So you are from Detroit.
Absolutely. Born and raised.
Detroit representing in the house.
Born and raised.
Yep. So my first question is, in a 30-second elevator pitch, what is Detroit like?
Detroit is a city that will make or break you. It will determine who you are. It will build your character, but just as easily, if you can't survive it, it will break you. Detroit's what made me who I am.
Okay.
I like that. It'll make or break you.
Yep.
That's it. That's Detroit.
Yep.
Absolutely. I mean, honestly, what I would say is it's a lot like any other inner city throughout the world, right? Tough times, but tough times make tough men.
It is, but there's LA.
Sure.
But then there's also, right, other type of, like, there's Miami.
Absolutely.
But Detroit is different.
Right.
Right. I find it, for me who's never been there, like what I envision is like the grit and grind.
Oh, absolutely. It's a blue collar city through and through.
Yeah.
It's a blue collar city through and through.
There you go. So like it really make or break that. Was like 8 Mile, right? 8 Mile.
Yep.
So we're half of that, 4 Mile, I guess. Right?
Absolutely. The 4 Mile crew.
Yeah.
But,
so that's Detroit. All right.
Yep.
Yeah,
right.
man. So.
All right, next. What is one thing that the average person doesn't know or understand about Detroit?
A lot of people look at Detroit or think about it as a rundown ghetto. Detroit is so multicultural and it's so expansive, right? So you have Detroit broken up into different neighborhoods. You have your Yemeni neighborhood, you have your Bengali neighborhood, you have Mexican town. You still have a decent Polish community. Then you have downtown Detroit. So that's all on the outskirts of Detroit, surrounding Detroit. You have Dearborn where all the Arabs are, like Lebanese and stuff like that, right? But then you have downtown Detroit, which has built up so beautifully in the last decade. A lot of that is Dan Gilbert, right? He invested heavily in Detroit, but downtown Detroit is so beautiful, so lively now. So a lot of people have negative connotations about Detroit. The heyday was back in the 70s and the 60s with the factories and things like that. And now it's a dead city. Really not that. Detroit is beautiful.
Okay. Interesting. So like if I was to go to Detroit, what's the one thing or the one thing I should do when I get there, whether it's food or a spot that if I don't do it, I didn't visit Detroit?
I'll give you a couple of different things from my perspective.
Okay.
Detroit is a sports town. Go to a sports game.
Okay.
Whether it be Lions, Tigers, Pistons, Red Wings.
No one's trying to go to the Pistons game, bro.
Bro, go to a Pistons game. Honestly, even
What?
the Lions game, right? Like if you like Thanksgiving Day for
Lions, sure.
Lions, yeah. Like Lions fans, we know how to take our L's because we've been taking them for a long time, right?
But so do the Wizards.
Yeah, but Wizards games are empty though.
So
Lions
Detroit
are still selling out. Even in
they made the playoffs. The Pistons
now, right? But even the Pistons games. I mean, I don't know about the ticket sales on the Pistons games, but the fans are they're diehard.
Okay.
Win or lose, we're there.
Okay.
We will be there.
Okay.
It's a sports town through and
And just because he's there sounds like the Atlanta. No, just I'm just messing.
yeah.
Okay.
I mean, but yeah. So go to a sports game, experience that, how crazy the fans are. Food wise, I'm partial to Mediterranean food. Outside of the Mediterranean region itself, outside of Lebanon and all of that, I would say Michigan has the best in the Metro Detroit area, has the best Mediterranean food.
Okay.
Whether you want to do Greek or Lebanese, it's huge.
Man, I love my falafels and hummus.
There you go.
So
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to take a trip out there.
Okay.
Sure. And then the place to visit, Detroit has a lot of, and the surrounding areas around Detroit has a lot, but the Riverwalk. If you're in Detroit for a couple hours, I would say go to the Riverwalk, go get some Mediterranean food, and you'll be satisfied.
Okay.
Okay.
So between Detroit and Chicago, I'm sure there's some sort of rivalry.
I mean, yeah,
from a city standpoint.
Yeah, sure. I mean, every city has their pride, right?
Right. Is there a difference though? I'm sure you visited Chicago many times, right?
That was my go-to.
Right. So is there like a stark difference between the two cities?
Yes.
Okay.
Chicago's a lot bigger, has a lot more going on.
Okay.
A lot more activities, right? Just based off the size of Chicago.
Okay.
But the culture is very much similar, right? So that same grit and grind is there.
Okay.
On a more upscale version.
Interesting. So you describe Detroit as partition, right, between the four four, I'm assuming, areas, general areas.
Yeah, generally speaking.
Which is similar to, I'm assuming, like how DC has a northeast, northwest.
Yeah.
Similar to that, I'm assuming. Is that
very much
the right way to
that? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So the communities are kind of, I mean, when people immigrate, they go towards the places where their people are.
Correct.
Right?
Of course.
So that's kind of what happened.
Listen, man, from being from Jersey, I know all
Absolutely.
about
Absolutely.
Edison, Oak Tree Road, and Jackson Heights.
Yep.
I have no idea what you guys are talking about.
You will.
You
will. We'll.
Listen, if you walk into any of these towns, as soon as you walk in, you'll realize what we're talking about.
Exactly. Okay. And now that you're old enough, like you've been there, but you were young. But now we're waiting for all of y'all to get old enough to really give you that true taste of what Jackson Heights and
absolutely
Oak Tree Road's all about.
What is that?
They call it Little India, basically. So, and I'm sure Jackson Heights is a little bigger version of Little India, which has like a lot of Bengali population, whereas Edison is very much Gujarati.
Yep.
So, there's different parts of it. We'll get to that.
Okay. All right, next. Who was Thahmin before moving into DC?
Oh man! All right.
Oh, I want to know this. I'm interested in knowing this.
Well, so here's the thing. A little bit of background on me. Growing up, I was a super angry kid, and it made me, what ended up happening is I needed to get out of the environment I was in, because partly it was the environment that made me that way. You had to be tough, right? And a lot of times toughness comes off as anger. I had to learn that's not the case. Sometimes the toughest people are the ones that can deal with adversity and kind of have that personality to be able to deal with that. But the one thing that I learned moving out here is that life has consequences. So I got a job as a government contractor. That's when it kind of hit me. I can't go around and start fighting and starting conflicts with everyone because it'll have long-term consequences. But growing up in an environment where you don't let anyone step to you, the first thing I'm doing is swinging, right? So
you first, speak less.
Absolutely,
yeah.
absolutely.
Okay.
And so I had to adjust my mentality.
Okay,
it was a big adjustment, and for the better.
Okay,
absolutely for the better.
Okay, wow. But that's kind of like the feeling I get from Detroit folks when y'all showed up that day. I got a similar vibe that day from a few, not all of you, from a few of you.
Well, that's the thing is we don't disrespect me. I won't disrespect you, but you disrespect me. Well, I have to defend my honor. So that's how we got raised.
But that was the part which was kind of like where I was trying to figure out was if I disrespect y'all on the court and make y'all look stupid or want y'all look foolish, will that result in a swing?
Most of the time,
or is it more so just talking or hitting or
it's
that type of?
It's the talking. It's the because listen, if you humble me, then you will get my respect. If you insult me, that's a different story.
Okay, that's a bar. Bars.
Okay.
Okay.
But yeah.
No, that's a good way to put it. That's a good way to put it. All right. Well, note to self, just go play your game, don't talk. Let your game talk. All right, there you go.
I mean, but that's kind of how we always played. We let our games do the talking.
You and I had a lot of banters, not trash talk.
But it wasn't ever disrespectful.
It was never correct. That is facts. That is facts. That is facts. Never crossed the boundary to that.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So yeah. So just some pointers. Right?
Yep.
Talk with a smile.
Well, and there's a difference.
Tim Duncan.
There you go.
Absolutely. But no, there's also a difference between trash talk and disrespect. Right?
Yeah.
And that's what a lot of people don't understand.
Right.
People will start talking about family members, things like that. Or like, just making very insulting comments. And that's when it gets out of hand. It's like, oh man, you think you're gonna shoot over me? You're not gonna shoot over me. That's
different.
That's part of the game.
That's part of the game.
Yeah.
But right. Where they start getting into the more family, personal things, that's where it becomes an issue. I know. I agreed. Yeah. Okay.
Next question. What's been the biggest difference between Detroit and DC? Like something you immediately noticed?
So being born and raised in Detroit, my heart's always going to be in Detroit, right? It holds a special place. However, I traveled quite a bit, and one of my favorite places to go visit, which I'll never be able to live in, is New York. Right?
Okay.
The life is just way too fast paced there. Detroit's really slow paced.
Okay.
I felt like there was 26 hours in a day rather than 24. Right.
Okay.
And so DC is a good middle between that. Right. The DMV area, if you want excitement, you get that. You want activities to do, you get that. Right. There's a bunch of parks. There's a bunch of things to do. And so that would be the difference. Like whatever you want, like you can live a suburban life if you want. You can go into the city if you want. You can, you can live you can rent an apartment within DC if you want. Like there's just so much to DC has to offer that I think a lot of people look.
Yes, I would agree. Because DC, I find, coming from that New York, Jersey area, when I moved down here, life slowed down.
Yep.
There was more of people were less, I felt this, were less hurry, rush. Everything's always like the whole step into me. Like people don't get mad just because you look at them weird or look at them different.
Right.
Like it's all right. Like they know what, you move on.
Yep.
Because there's consequences.
Yep.
Where in New York, like if I look at you, like you look at somebody too long and make eye contact, oh, you're trying to step to me? Like
right.
Bro, it's not that deep.
Right.
It's really not that deep.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I agree. And then other thing I loved about DC was that you don't pay $28 to go into the city through the Holland Tunnel or whatever bridge, which is ridiculous.
Right.
I'm sorry.
Right. Yep.
I'm sorry. No.
Are you supposed to in different?
Well, New York charges you to go. It's like a ticket entry into an amusement park. Manhattan is an amusement park.
Why?
Right.
That makes no sense.
Because I don't know.
It's a tourist city, right? So they need to make their income somehow.
Yeah. And just to enter the city, they charge you a fee.
Right.
So, yeah.
Okay.
So you just learn something new.
Yep.
Amongst many other things you'll learn new.
Wait till you get to taxes.
All right.
Okay. So, next question. What brought you to 4 Mile?
What brought me to 4 Mile? Honestly, it was my friends. So there's a couple of cats I know from Detroit that Hak knew before. They moved to the DC area a year before I moved here. Ray John, Tufao. And so that let's go play ball. All right, cool. Let's go play ball. And that's how I got introduced to everyone else. And yeah, that's what it was, just basketball, honestly. Everyone's first love, from what I understand.
So speaking of first love.
Yeah.
How did you meet your first love?
You talking about my wife or basketball?
Well, for the episode,
yeah.
Of course he loves you.
Yeah.
I'm talking about his girlfriend, his first girlfriend.
Yeah, my first girlfriend. All right. Yeah, honestly, my older cousins kind of introduced me. I remember went to a family party one time in Detroit, and my cousins had a basketball hoop in front of their house. Maybe like 4 or 5 years old.
Okay.
And I see them playing. They're probably like 10, 12, 13. I see them playing. I'm that little annoying cousin. I'm like, I want to play too. They're like, no, get out of here, kid. I went to my mom. I went crying to my mom. I'm like, they're not letting me play with them. My mom comes outside. Let them get a shot in. They're like, okay, cool. As soon as my mom turned around, they're like, get out of here.
Of course.
But I wanted to play with them so bad. And it just seemed so cool. You know, they're jumping, running, dribbling. As a kid, I was like, oh man, that looks so fun. I didn't get to play, but I think that was my first experience. And you tell someone not to do something. Of
course.
They want to do it more.
That was your introduction to basketball.
That was my introduction to basketball.
Wow.
Okay.
That's where your love for basketball. Well,
that's where it started developing. That's those dating stages.
Sure. That was the not courting, but I guess the crush.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But like, where did you actually like
start falling in love with it? All right. I can actually tell you exactly where. 2001. This is when like I really
Wait, this is Malice on the Palace?
Nah, that's 2004.
4. Okay.
Oh.
Yeah.
I got it.
2001.
4 was the year they won.
Was it?
Yeah, that was the year they won.
Then, because I think it was a year after.
Yeah, that's what okay.
Yeah.
My bad.
Sometime later on.
Got it.
But 2001, Allen Iverson started blowing up. That's when I discovered my favorite player, and that's when I really fell in love with him.
Wow, Allen Iverson. This man has changed the culture, everything.
Absolutely. I mean, that's one of the things. Like, I had cousins that were huge Kobe fans. I remember watching some Michael Jordan, right? But Allen Iverson, the way he carried himself, the confidence, he just seemed like the coolest person in the world to me as a teenager. And growing up, trying to find the balance between a Desi culture and, adjusting to American culture, his independence and him not caring about what others thought, because he was controversial.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone's like tattoos,
the
hair, the way he dressed.
Yeah.
Everyone's like
chains.
Yeah. Right, but he's like, I'm gonna be me.
Correct.
Right. And that's where I started learning, no, I need to be me. I need to be true to my identity.
Right.
He influenced me in more ways than just basketball. Yeah, that's when I really started falling in love with him.
Oh, so AI. Man, that man gave so many people wings.
Absolutely.
Right? Just to give them confidence to be who you are.
Absolutely.
Be proud of it.
Yeah.
Proud of it. Man, I love that. And nowadays, like, he always talks about it, like, I took the ass whooping.
Yep.
For y'all to be able to do what y'all do today.
Yep.
And that couldn't be truer than, my God, that is so true.
Truer words are never
That's
said.
why this man's on our wall.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Has to be. So
yeah.
we could have put anybody on that wall. but he deserves to be on your walls.
Yep.
So like, especially if you're a hooper.
Yeah.
Like I remember AI when he first came out. My introduction to him was like, how is the smallest guy dominating? But there was a big, and at that part of the like that time, it was a big man's game.
Absolutely. You had your Shaqs, your Alonzos, your Dennis Rodmans,
your Hakeems and Duncans.
Yeah, exactly.
It was a big man's game.
Yep.
How is this little guy coming in, winning Rookie of the Year, first pick,
dominating?
Then he also went to my dream school,
Georgetown,
right?
Okay.
So that
that
all
set it apart.
It all fell this,
Yep.
it all aligned really well.
Absolutely.
And he also had that, like, I know he's from Virginia, but he had that like that Jersey swag to his game.
Oh yeah.
Because in Jersey, like we're all like that flashy, ball handling type, right?
Yep.
And so he fit in so well with that.
Yeah.
All right. Next question. Personally, how has sports and culture played a role in your life?
I mean, I'll go back to what I said about AI and me developing my personality, right? Me developing that individuality. Before that, especially as a teenager, I was a little bit lost. I wanted to kind of be like everyone else. I went to a school where there weren't a lot of brown kids, right? Desi kids. So trying to find that individuality was tough. I just wanted to fit in. Then sports helped me realize, like, nah, it's all right to be different. Right? That's one of those lessons I learned from AI. And own it. Be confident in who you are. You don't have to be just like everyone.
Right.
You can be different and be proud of it.
Yeah.
And what's crazy about that for culture and sports, like sports will, any culture, I think you could take any culture, whatever culture you are, and it will align. It can easily align with whatever culture and bring you together with those group, those folks who think alike you, whether you have different hobbies or different other interests outside. Yep. But when you all get together to hoop,
that's it,
right? And you build those friendships and bonds. Like, I don't think you and I would have met anywhere else outside of
probably not
the 4 mile courts, right?
Probably not. Yeah.
And similar to me with my best friend who we met in school. But other than that, like even some of the other folks that through 4 mile,
right,
that we're friends with today, I would have never met.
Right.
But outside of basketball.
Right.
Personally, I think my social skills would have been next to zero had it not been for sports, because I was like the outcast kid.
Yep. Sports
really was my. I happen to be good at sports.
Right.
Oh, we want him on our team.
Right.
I always had a spot on somebody's team because I just happened to be good at the sport.
Right.
Great. Otherwise, like I'm in the corner, leave me alone.
Right. Once you start proving yourself, though.
You got to prove yourself. Obviously, you got to prove yourself.
Yeah.
You can't just be lucky one time.
Yep.
Shooting bank from 3, even if you call it. Sorry, Matt.
Especially from the top of the key.
Top of the key. Top of the key is the important part. Yeah.
Right.
But I've never seen someone backboard so many shots from the corner. That's a skill.
I wouldn't know what he's talking about. No. So culture. We have in front of us a carom board.
Yes.
A carom board. CARROM. It is Googleable. It is YouTubeable. It is IGable.
Absolutely.
Right. There. It's all over social media. There's a guy who actually does trick shots on the carom board, which
there's a couple of them now.
There's a couple of them. And I'm sorry, like those tricks, I call this like finger pool.
Yeah.
Finger billiards.
Yep.
Right.
Absolutely.
Basically, similar rules, right? You have your white ball, we have the red. What do we call this? I guess
we call it guti in Bengali.
Guti. We call it giti.
Okay.
So similar,
yeah.
Right? You have your light pieces, dark pieces.
Yeah.
But you have 4 corners.
Yep.
And then there's a striker.
Right? Strikers in the basket. Yeah.
Is it?
Yeah.
Let's see if we can find. See if you can get that striker.
There's 2 of them. There's a red one in them.
There you go. So just for so there's a thicker one and a regular size one, right?
Yep.
The thickness on them is different.
Yep.
Basically, this is a guti.
We call it guti.
Guti. A guti, a giti, right?
Yep.
And it's played similarly, I'm assuming, once you get your colors. Yep. Or did you have a point system on these?
No. So there are a couple of different games you can play, right? Every culture calls them differently. We call this one board, right?
Okay.
Then there's another one that we call, it translates to banana tree, but we call it kalagas, where you stack them up.
Okay.
Right. And so basically on board, whatever points are remaining, like, so let's say we're playing against each other. You have the dark pieces. I have the light pieces. I make all my light pieces in. You have 2 dark pieces remaining. I get 2 points. Unless I also took the red piece.
Okay.
Because then that's 5 points.
Okay.
So that gives me a total of 7.
Got it. So the goal is basically to use a striker to hit those into one of the slots.
One of the pockets.
One of the pockets. And you can, whatever, like do a reverse or whatever.
Yep.
It depends on your skill level.
Use the walls.
So there's 4 sides. You can use the walls, and this to this, basically each area, red to red, is your area where you can move the striker to hit off of.
Exactly.
And
do you get like more points if you hit the red one? Or
yeah, so if you make the red and then you have to do what people refer to as a cover. So you have to make the red and then make another one of your pieces afterwards. Then if you end up winning that game, meaning you put all of your pieces in the pockets and your team or your opponent has 2-3 pieces remaining, you'll automatically add 5 to that score. But if your opponent is the one that takes it, then you only have 2 or 3. So there's a difference between 8 and 2 or 8 and 3.
Right. So that's one version of it. Right? We normally we play a different version of it where I believe the red's 50 points, blacks are 10, and these lighter pieces are
blacks are 5 and the white ones are 10.
Right. So I think ours was these are 10, the dark ones are 10, the light ones are 20.
And
same
okay,
concept.
Same concept, yeah.
Yeah, and then the red one's 50, and you just try to out.
Yeah.
Basically, you can score whatever, just try to get the most in, right? So it's a very it's a strategic game,
right?
Because again, you can't. There's different rules for different folks how they play, and there's a very key ingredient that goes on this board, which a lot of our Desis will know very well, and it probably hits close to a lot of Desi folks' heart. Probably not the healthiest thing to play with, but is that it right there?
The both of those bottles right there, yeah. But
yes. So this has a more cleaner look, the carom powder.
Yep.
But what actually is carom powder?
Carom powder is what's commonly known in the English language as boric acid.
Boric acid.
Boric acid is commonly used in roach killers, rodent killers. Yeah, I mean, it's what makes the board slippery, though.
Right. And unless there's a different type of powder that helps, that's the one I know of that we play with all our life, right? So they sprinkle a bunch of that all over the place.
Yep.
It's almost like when you chalk a chalk acoustic, right? Like to similar concept, similar here, right? And then you just kind of go at it, and it gets competitive. It gets super competitive. Like it gets deep. Oh, it gets deep. People get into fights and
fights.
Oh yeah.
The trash talking in carom is uncomparable to anything else. Yeah. You're constantly trying to get in someone's head to make them miss their shot.
Lose focus, right? Yeah.
So in that situation, that's when people start talking about moms, sisters, whatever.
It gets personal.
Yeah, it gets super personal.
And you know what's crazy? Like, and so like in basketball, you talk trash, but here you're so close to each other in proximity.
Yep.
Like I'm in your face.
Yeah.
Talking.
Yep.
You have to focus and while trash talking, focus. Like it's. So this is another make or break you type of game.
Well, it will teach you patience though, because you will have to put up with that crap talk and keep your cool and make your shot. Yeah. It develops you.
You want to become clutch, start playing this game.
Absolutely.
Right, I'll teach you how to be clutch.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that crash course on carom board.
Absolutely.
But carom board is this game. This is that one game, right? Sports that I feel like is a common denominator amongst the Desi group. Amongst all Desi. I don't care, you're Bangladeshi, you're Pakistani, you're Punjabi, you're Gujarati,
Nepali, absolutely.
Yep. This is that one game that literally can bring all those people together.
Yep.
And you all start playing, talking trash to each other.
It's like that?
There's that, right? And then the one other thing, which is a lot harder to set up, is cricket.
Oh yeah, cricket, obviously. Big field. And cricket, by the way, is probably the biggest and most watched, I think, after the World Cup.
Correct.
In the whole
second
world?
most popular sport in the world.
What?
Correct. World.
What?
Yeah. Like they think Super Bowl's big here.
That's nothing.
So if this was cricket, right? You know what Super Bowl is? That's that little collection of dust right there. Compared I'll be nice. This is Super Bowl. And the rest of it is cricket.
Well, and you got to remember, cricket is not only popular in the UK and a lot of other countries, but you look at a country like India, the second most populated country in the world. You look at a country like Bangladesh, the 8th most populated country in the world. You look at Pakistan, you look at Nepal, you look at South Africa, you look at Australia, right?
All that whole Eastern Hemisphere is cricket.
Yep.
Soccer and cricket.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, soccer's all over the world.
Correct.
It's not as popular in America.
That's the one place where it's not as big. So Messi had to come here to make it a little.
Yeah. You know what? That's great for the culture, though.
Oh yeah,
it's developing the culture of soccer in America.
Absolutely. When him and Beckham came, but cricket is huge. It's just that we don't know about it here because they don't talk about it like that.
Right.
But it's a huge, very, very, they talk about like people making bank.
Yep.
Oh, they make bank.
Oh, yeah.
Like real bank, not this bank here that they make. This is like chump change bank.
Yep.
Yeah. It's like that. But again, all Googleable, YouTubeable. So go do your research. So yeah, sir, what's the next?
Our next question. Any common themes between sports and Desi culture?
Oh, absolutely. One, Desi people are competitive, right? You look at the way we grew up, right?
Oh my God.
Someone else's kid did better on their report card. You hearing about it.
You read my mind.
You hearing about it.
Yeah.
Oh, everything is a competition in Desi culture, right? That their kid knows how to make that dish. You don't know how to make that dish. What's wrong with you, right? You got 98. They got 101. There is no 101. They're lying to their parents, mom. Nah.
So everything is a race. Whatever it is, it's a race, right? You learn how to drive before me, you're better.
Yep.
It's stupid. It can get as stupid and menial as that.
Yeah.
It makes no sense.
Because Desi people in general are competitive.
In everything.
In everything. We want to be the very best. We want our kids to be the very best. We want to, and in some ways it's good. In some ways it's very, very toxic. But, you leave the bad and you take the good. So, you try to enforce, like some of that competition. Competition is great for success, right? But it needs to be healthy.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But with the Desi culture, if you don't, God forbid you have a cousin who has become like successmal in their eyes.
Right. Oh, they became a doctor?
It's a wrap.
What?
If you don't become like the whatever the next version of nuclear physicist,
right,
you are unsuccessful. Even if you become like some super successful businessman.
Right.
But he became a doctor.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
How?
It's like that. It's like that.
It's like that. That's the pinnacle of success.
Yeah. And if you as a Desi person don't follow the prescribed path of numbers, technology, or doctor, you are a failure in life.
Yes.
You are a failure.
It doesn't matter if you're the most successful person. And I think the culture is changing a little.
With our generation.
Yeah. Well, even I feel like the parents are starting to understand, right? Like, okay.
They're almost being forced to though, aren't they?
Sure, but I also think they're starting to realize their success in other things in life.
Right.
There's an Indian reporter that I'm a very big fan of. His name is Mehdi Hassan.
Okay.
And he was like, he started off in like some local news type of thing. And he went all the way up to MSNBC at one point. Right. And so it's like, but when have you ever thought about Desis as journalists, right? Or like you start watching movies, there's more and more Desi actors.
Yes. They are coming into Hollywood a little bit more, right? Right. Probably not in the main big film lead roles, but at least they're making the non-stereotypical role, right? Where you're not a taxi driver, you're not a 7-Eleven attendant.
Right.
Or you don't die first 15 minutes of the movie. Yeah. So no, that's those
more prominent roles. That's the thing is I mean, I know growing up, if I ever said I wanted to enter the arts.
Oh, bruh.
Yeah, that's it.
I did say that. And you can only imagine the shame or the failure.
Yep.
So I said something which was, I was at a juncture, at a point where I had to make a decision. Do I want to go this profession or that profession, right? And I was being very heavily forced into the more numerical based professions.
Okay.
I just didn't see myself I could have done it, sure.
Right.
Wouldn't have been happy in it.
Right.
And I chose the other one.
Sure.
The less numbers, more human interaction type profession.
Understood.
And I was looked at like I had 3 heads. Like, are you our son?
Right.
Or are you adopted? And even worse, what are they gonna think?
Yeah.
What is so-and-so gonna think?
What are people gonna say? Right.
And I'm like, I'm sorry, do I earn the paycheck for them? Like, who cares what they think, right? And I think that's the part that our generation has learned to overcome. Like AI, right? Helped us kind of say, I don't care what you think.
Right.
This is what's gonna make me happy. This is what I want to do for the rest of my life. If I'm okay with it,
right,
you should help support it.
Absolutely.
Okay, granted, I'm not saying something like bizarre, which is may actually bring shame on the family.
Right.
I'm actually earning an honest living,
right,
doing an honest day's work.
Yep.
And if I'm happy doing it and I can make a living.
But let me ask you something. And actually, maybe I should ask this to Tej. Where do you think that stems from? That push towards the STEM field, no pun intended.
I don't know.
I have a theory. My theory is that because all of these countries are super overpopulated
Mm.
and they have limited number of jobs,
Mm.
like go into a profession that guarantees
Sure.
rather than trying to become.
Sure.
I think that's
Yeah, the probability is sure not as high. But if when you're pioneering something or you're trying to, so trends change, right? There was a time when our grandparents would stick with the same job for 45 years, 60 years,
absolutely
or 30 whatever years, never change,
right.
right? It was loyalty. Loyalty was so rewarded back in the day.
Absolutely.
Nowadays, it's if you don't move, you don't grow,
Right.
right? That's kind of like the trend in the private sector.
Right.
Is very much so. If you don't move, you don't grow.
Yep.
You have to move. You have to be willing to go and experience or go to these multiple job positions, and you get these like big raises and whatever the case is. And I see it because when I was in the human field,
Right.
human resources,
Right.
Desi's, which Desi did you know 10 years ago who was who said, I want to go become a human resource specialist or some profession in that, in that profession, some sort of
Right.
nobody. So when I started doing that, this was probably 12, 15 years ago. Oh, wasn't the HR.
Right.
And then HR suddenly blew up, like probably 4 or 5 years in, once I got into it. Now it's like, oh, you had the vision and now your cousins want to follow behind you. Where was this glory before?
And now you're the trendsetter. You got to prove yourself. It's just like anything else, right?
But then it's like, now your parents want to say, oh yeah, we knew it. Our son.
And we encouraged him. It's because of us.
It's because of us he's successful today.
Absolutely.
It's because
And you're just like hearing your mom and dad on the phone telling their, really? Huh. You're lucky I don't have a podcast then.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man. But the message and all that is, right? Do what you love.
Yep.
Be confident in it. Yes, you got to work hard. Nothing comes easy. You can't sit here and follow just what the influence and trend is. What hits close to your heart is what you got to do.
Yep.
Right. And even if it's not the popular thing to do, but if you truly believe that you can be successful in that, whatever that is, whatever your discipline is.
Yep.
But you remember, you got to put in the work though. You just can't say, I want to go do it.
Right.
Oh, and I'll be successful. No, it's not going to happen like that. You got to put in your 10K plus. Right?
Yep. Absolutely.
So that's my old man message, right, to the youth.
And that's the thing is you look at it. I mean, because I like following trends.
Mm-hmm.
And nowadays there's a trend of influence.
Mm-hmm.
But you look at how much work some of these people put in. They're working 24 hours a day.
It's a lot of work.
Right?
This looks easy. It's the easy part.
We only see the easy part.
Yeah. This episode is the easy part.
Absolutely.
Right? You got to see the behind the scenes a little bit today.
Yeah, you guys put in a ton of work into this.
But even after the fact, there's so much more.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
So yeah. And my off camera audience, one of my other best friends, my brother knows how much work we stay up 2, 3, 4 in the morning, texting each other, talking about like strategy and everything. So and you know it. You gotta I know Mr. Rebezos, I guess. No, he knows all about it.
I mean, honestly, the hustle life is built into us from culture, right? That's one of the good things that our culture teaches.
Absolutely.
Right. So whatever we do, we got to put our all into it.
Yeah. Agreed.
Success doesn't come easy.
Correct. Yeah, that's the one thing that I think as a culture we really did well with as a whole, as a community. Listen, I'm going to be the first to say, and this may not be a popular opinion. This may be looked at as I might get the cancel card or hate card or whatever it is from our people. Take my card away. We don't help each other.
No, not at all. Crabs in a barrel.
We are crabs in a, my God, are we crabs in a barrel?
Absolutely.
Whatever the worst version of that is what we are.
Right.
We are so bad with helping each other as a community. Like we severely lack that skill set, which is why I feel like we are so behind in moving forward as a community because of that.
Yeah.
My bad.
Well, no. I was going to say, I think it's kind of two-sided. Where are we good? We're good up until, so like if they see someone on the streets walking and they need they're hungry, they'll give that person
100%
over and over again.
100%.
Right? It's when I fear that you're going to get above me, I will help you until you get to a point where you might get above me. Now I'm not helping you no more.
Ding, 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 ding. You win the jackpot. That's it. You can't get ahead of me.
Right.
It's that competitive nature we just spoke about earlier, right?
Yep.
It's all good till you are right about here.
Yep.
But if you get here, oh my God, it's a wrap. You know, like they're keeping up with the Joneses. Like we're like that exponentially. It's just bad.
Absolutely. And
bad.
Yeah.
It's toxic.
It's very toxic. It honestly ruins so many.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It really does. Really does. And it's unfortunate.
I'm hopeful that the next generation doesn't have to deal with that, because we have, like, I've seen so many Desi father son, mother daughter, mother son, father relationships just ruined because of that. The constant thing that every Desi, I don't care what language you speak, what are they gonna say?
Exactly.
What are they gonna say is it's been burnt into my head.
What is so and so going to think about X, Y, or Z?
Right.
And it's like the most paralyzing thing for someone who's trying to grow confidence and grow and make their own path and lane in the world.
Right.
Because now you're always worrying about what is. Yeah. I mean, you learn a lot today. You get a lot of words of wisdom.
Hey, we've been through it. You know what I mean?
Right. We have been through it.
And now we know we gotta change that.
Right.
That's why we have, I mean, some of the best conversations I have with you is helping me grow, and I hope vice versa. But also the conversations we had with the guys around us.
Yes.
Is that helping each other.
Absolutely. And I know that's funny you say that, because I'm just thinking about that. A lot of our conversations after hooping were about how do we help each other grow?
Right.
Like, what do we do? Because as a community, we're so behind. What do we do at least to start helping each one of us in this community grow and become better? Whatever that is, right? As a person, in a business, in job, advice.
Yep.
Whatever, right? Parenting, friendship, doesn't matter. Ball.
Right. And
that's been I feel so blessed and honored to have, a person like a friend, a brother to go talk to about that, because I've never had that. Like, this is me being transparent. I've never really had that in the sense where I can go to some family member and say, hey, because it was always that ingrained so-and-so, right? And I feel like our generation is breaking that, or slowly trying to break that.
Right.
Which is why this conversation is not openly had. I feel like, we're having it now.
It's taboo.
It is.
Everyone knows it. No,
they know it. Yeah.
No Desi person that grew up like us or our parents' generation or anything will ever disagree with that. They just won't say it out loud.
Out loud, correct. And here we are. Yeah, listen, I'll take the ass whoop. I will take it. Because the last thing I care is what anyone thinks about it, because it's the truth.
Right.
It's the truth. And
hey, listen, the only person that's judging us is God. Right?
There you go.
I don't care what nobody else has to say.
There you go. So that's all I care, who thinks about what he thinks about me versus anyone else. Period. Point blank.
I'm humbled to be here. I'm honored. Honestly, thank you guys so much for inviting me.
Man, I tell you, the pleasure's on this side of the table and over there, man. But thank you again. So with that, sir, any other parting words that you want to share with anybody, the youth or your loved ones? Or
make sure you like and subscribe.
Is that it? My man. Making sure you like, subscribe at Oh Kiddan on every platform, right? Your TikToks.
Absolutely.
Your IGs and your YouTubes. Subscribe. Tell your friend. Tell your neighbor. Tell your
tell your Bobby,
He just read my mind. My man read my mind. Right? Tell your Gwandi.
Right.
Tell your neighbors, tell your friends, tell your dost, mitter, your cousins, all that good stuff, right?
Yep.
Tell every kind of friend you got. Yep. All right, spread the message. Again, we love y'all. We love this conversation. Like I said, I could keep going, but we got to wrap it up, right? I can't get in trouble with the Bobby. I can't. So I'm sorry, Bobby. I kept your man a little later than usual, but I appreciate it. Man. So with that, see you later. Alvida, Habjo, Khudafis, and Sat Sri Akal. Till next time, peace.
Oh Kiddan.